The Google Pixel Watch is now in its third generation. I've already tested the Pixel Watch 1 from 2022 and the Pixel Watch 2 from 2023, and as an athlete I drew mixed conclusions. While the fitness features were quite convincing and the design was appealing as well, the watch had several critical weaknesses. For example, it lacked important navigation features and long-term training analysis tools, the GPS was quite inaccurate for me, and especially the battery life left much to be desired. Now, with the Pixel Watch 3, Google provides a new model, and of course I have thoroughly tested it again. I tracked all my running, cycling, swimming and gym workouts with the watch and wore it 24/7. In this video I'll tell you about all the pros and cons of the Pixel Watch 3 and whether, aside from its core function as a smartwatch, it's also suitable as a sports watch. So let's dive right in, have fun. Last year the Pixel Watch 2 was only available in one size, 41mm. This probably pleased people with smaller wrists, but for me personally the watch was a bit too small, perhaps because I'm more used to wearing classic sports watches from brands like Garmin, Polar, Suunto or Coros. Most Garmin watches, for example, don't even come in that size. The recently published Phoenix 8, for example, comes in 3 different sizes, with the smallest one still being 43mm. So thankfully the Pixel Watch 3 now comes in 2 sizes. There is the familiar 41mm version again, but there is also a larger 45mm variant, which I have opted for this time. You can also choose between a Bluetooth only version or one that includes LTE. In the latter case, the watch has its own LTE connection, meaning it can connect to the internet without a smartphone. Personally, I don't need that, so I chose the simple Bluetooth version. The smaller model is priced at $349 and the larger variant at $399. For the LTE feature, you need to add $100 more to each. This is unchanged from last year. The watch is of course again available in different colors, including silver, black with a dark grey band, and this grey option officially listed as hazel. In terms of design, not much has changed. The watch is still round and very minimalist. It's operated via touch, and there's also this one button at the right side which also functions as a rotating crown. Overall, the user experience is still very smooth. Google made a significant leap from the Pixel Watch 1 to the Pixel Watch 2, and just like last year, the Pixel Watch 3 also features a Snapdragon chip with a quad-core processor, making the watch run very quickly again. This is, by the way, one small point where the watch outshines traditional sports watches by far. In terms of materials, the watch is made of aluminum, giving it a premium feel. It's also extremely lightweight at 31 grams for the smaller model and 37 grams for the larger model, excluding the strap. I find the watch very comfortable to wear and I still like the design, though it's nothing new. However, Google has made some minor improvements to the display. The 41mm version still has a 1.2-inch screen, while the larger 45mm version has a 1.45-inch display. This allows more information to be displayed on the screen in some areas. The bezel has also become slightly narrower, shrinking from 5.5mm to 4.5mm, which is quite noticeable. However, the display borders are still relatively wide compared to the competition. For example, the smaller Galaxy Watch 7 in the 40mm version has a 1.3-inch display, which is larger than the 41mm Pixel Watch 3. But the brightness has also been improved. Previously it could reach up to 1000 nits and now it goes up to 2000 nits. This keeps Google on par with other smartwatches like the Apple Watch or Samsung Galaxy Watch, and yes, the Pixel Watch 3's display is incredibly bright and, as typical for an AMOLED display, very colorful and high contrast. The brightness can also go as low as 1 nit, which is useful at night to protect your eyes or when you're in a movie theater and don't want to be disturbed by the bright display. In terms of display technology, it's no longer just a classic AMOLED display, but rather an AMOLED LTPO display. LTPO stands for Low Temperature Polycrystalline Oxide, I hope I pronounced this right, and this is supposed to be more energy efficient, so you might think that this benefits the battery life, and this brings us to the next topic. From an athlete's perspective, one major issue with the Pixel Watches has always been the battery life. And if you were expecting significant improvements here, I'm afraid I have to disappoint you, as Google gives the same battery specs for the Pixel Watch 3 as it did for its predecessor. The 41mm version of the Pixel Watch 3 has the same 307 mAh battery as the Pixel Watch 2, while the 45mm variant offers a 420 mAh battery. However, Google claims the same battery life for both models, 24 hours with the always-on display activated. One new feature, however, is the power saving mode, which can supposedly extend the battery life up to 36 hours. In this mode, Google takes advantage of the new AMOLED LTPO display, which can dim down to 1 nit, while fitness tracking and other features remain active. But how does the battery life hold up in real-world use? During a 30-minute run, the watch loses 8% of battery for me personally, which would amount to 16% per hour, meaning it would last about 6 hours with continuous workout tracking. In the gym, where the watch doesn't record GPS data, it only loses about 4% per half hour for me, so 8% per hour, meaning theoretically 12.5 hours should be possible. In most cases, my watch lasts about 1.5 days, which feels slightly longer than in the past 2 years. However, I now have the larger 45mm version. Ultimately, it depends on a variety of factors, such as how many workouts you track, how intensively you use the watch, and what settings you configure. For me personally, the watch always lasts at least through the day, and if you start with 100%, a 4-hour marathon should be manageable as well. But if you view the watch as a sports watch, this battery life is still very bad because its competitors are miles ahead in that regard. Google acquired Fitbit in 2021. Recently, Google also announced that they would discontinue the popular Fitbit smartwatches from the Sense and Versa series, so the focus is now fully on the Pixel watches. But even though there won't be new Fitbit smartwatches for the time being, the Fitbit software is now fully integrated into all Google smartwatches, including the Pixel Watch 3. If you've used a Fitbit tracker or watch before, much of this interface will look familiar to you. From the home screen, you can swipe sideways through the various widgets. First, we have the steps, which also show how close you are to reaching your daily goal. Then there is the heart rate, a quick start menu for the workout mode, sleep analysis, and a few smartwatch related widgets like a calendar or weather. When you dive into one of these widgets, you can see more details. For example, in the steps widget, you can see when you took those steps, your most active hour, or your average daily step count for the week. If you go back from here, you'll enter the typical Fitbit app, which on the watch is called Fitbit Today. You can also find it by pressing the rotating crown on the home screen to open the app menu, where you'll see the Fitbit Today app as well. At this point, I must praise the user interface as well. It's very intuitive and simple. This is often a downside with Garmin watches, where menus can be quite complex and new users might feel overwhelmed. In the Fitbit app, you'll find all the data that the sensors have tracked throughout the day, including steps, floors climbed, distance covered, calories burned, active zone minutes, workout sessions, heart rate, and so on. All this is tracked 24/7. For sleep analysis, the watch shows you how long you slept and the time spent in different sleep stages. During sleep, it also measures your oxygen saturation thanks to the SpO2 sensor. However, just like last year, this is only tracked during sleep, so you can't check your oxygen saturation randomly during the day. The skin temperature sensor is also back. The watch can track changes in skin temperature, providing insights into your general well-being and helping with features like menstrual cycle tracking. Both the temperature sensor and the electrodermal activity sensor, which detects sweat on the skin, are used to monitor what Google calls body responses, especially during stress. In such cases, the watch suggests relaxation breathing exercises, for example. Another standout feature of the Pixel Watch 3 is the ability to perform an ECG, which can tell you whether your heart rhythm is normal or if there are any signs of atrial fibrillation. Overall, Google, in collaboration with Fitbit, does an amazing job in terms of the fitness and health features for your everyday life, and even offers some features that traditional sports watches lack. Let's take a look at the training mode next. Here you will find a large variety of workout profiles. However, 2 modes are still missing. Just like in previous years, there is no open water swimming mode and a multisport mode. This means that triathletes still cannot record multiple sports in a single workout session. One new feature, however, is structured workouts. You can now create structured running workouts directly on the watch or via the app, such as interval sessions, start them on the watch and get real-time workout guidance, which by the way is also new. During training, you can display up to 4 data fields on the watch at once, which is usually enough, but the data enthusiast in me sometimes wishes for more fields. Some sports watches, for example, can display 6 or even 8 fields. As for the data itself, you have access to the classic stats like distance, time, heart rate, pace, steps, calories or elevation when running. And unlike previous years, advanced metrics are now included as well, such as cadence, stride length, vertical oscillation or ground contact time. You can view these after your workout on the watch and get more detailed insights in the app. Speaking of the app, it has a new design and is now heavily focused on running. There is also a new running performance dashboard where you can see all your runs, track your improvements over time and monitor the progression of your running related stats. What I find disappointing, however, is that you still can't connect external sensors to the watch like chest straps, power meters or cadence sensors for cycling. So theoretically you can connect external sensors via Bluetooth, but then you can't use them in the pre-installed Fitbit training mode. So evaluating the watch as a sports watch, this is a major drawback. On the upside, you can now at least send heart rate data to external devices, so you can display your heart rate on a treadmill, for instance. One feature still missing compared to traditional sports watches is navigation. While you can use Google Maps on the watch as it's a Google device, you can't use it for navigation during a workout. So you can't load maps onto the watch and get navigated during a cycling session, for example. However, Google Maps can now at least be used offline, so you can download maps and use them on the Pixel Watch 3 without an internet connection. Additionally, you have access to the Google Play Store where you can download apps and expand the functionality of the watch. For example, Apple Watch users can install the Workout Doors app, which provides navigation during workouts, but I haven't found an equivalent app for the Pixel Watch 3 yet. Ideally though, these features should be included in the pre-installed training app. At least now it's finally possible to control your music during a workout without leaving the training mode, a feature that was previously lacking. Another area where the Pixel Watch lagged behind traditional sports watches in the past was long-term training analysis. So while it had a training mode, there weren't many tools to track your progress over time. Thankfully, the Pixel Watch 3 now offers some new features. First, there is the Daily Readiness Score. This feature existed before, but it was only available with the Fitbit Premium subscription, which I have never used, so I couldn't test it. On the Pixel Watch 3, this feature is now included for free. It's similar to Garmin's body battery, showing how much energy you start the day with and how ready you are. Factors like heart rate variability and sleep play a role in this score, and you can see a breakdown of these factors. However, your activity level doesn't factor in, so it doesn't matter how hard you trained the day before. This score focuses on how well you're rested and how refreshed you are when you wake up. There is also a new feature called Morning Briefing, which, as the name suggests, gives you a quick summary of important information in the morning, such as how you slept, your daily readiness score, and the weather forecast. For activity, there is now a new widget called Cardio Load. This shows how intensively you've been training recently, the type of training stress you're putting on your body, and whether you're over or under training. This is something we are already familiar with from most sports watch brands. As a result of both of these widgets, there is now a Cardio Load Goal widget. This combines your recovery data from the Daily Readiness Score with your training data from Cardio Load. It shows whether you've been training more or less than usual and how this affects your current fitness level. And here you can also set your goal, whether it's maintaining your fitness level or improving it. We've seen similar training analysis tools with Apple's new watchOS 11 update, but unlike Apple, Google or Fitbit provide specific numbers to back up these trends, while Apple uses a relative approach using percentages. Overall, Google has introduced some exciting new features for athletes, making this the most significant update in the short history of the Pixel Watch. This is certainly a step in the right direction, although the watch still lags behind the competition in areas like navigation during workouts and compatibility with external sensors. By the way, everything I've shown you in this video is available in the free Fitbit version, but there is still a Fitbit Premium option if you want to use that, where you'll get additional statistics, a library of workouts, and some additional features, but I'm not a fan of these subscription models, so I haven't used it myself. As always, I wanted to know how accurate the watch is. Accurate heart rate measurement is crucial because many other statistics ultimately rely on the heart rate. And here, Google promises that thanks to software improvements, the Pixel Watch 3 offers the best and most accurate heart rate measurement of all Google and Fitbit smartwatches to date. But promises are easy to make, so let's find out whether this is actually true and see how accurate the Pixel Watch 3 tracks all of my workout sessions. As usual, I recorded all of my workouts using both the watch and a chest strap and then compared both datasets afterward. Here during running, both datasets were almost identical. At the beginning there were slight deviations, but they quickly evened out, and overall the watch records my heart rate very accurately. The average heart rate also matches and is less than 1.5 beats per minute off compared to the chest strap. This was the case for almost all of my running sessions, however there was one exception. In this session the Pixel Watch 3 initially overshoots the mark and records a heart rate significantly higher than the chest strap. After about 10 minutes it stabilizes and then the curve is completely identical to that of the chest strap. As I said, this only happened once in about 10 runs, so I was fine with that. For strength training, Google or Fitbit unfortunately doesn't offer an option to export heart rate data, so here are the side-by-side screenshots of the watch and the chest strap. During the workout already I was positively surprised, as I noticed the watch caught up with heart rate spikes faster than most other watches. We can also see from the screenshots that the maximum heart rate according to the chest strap was 131, while the watch's screenshot doesn't mark this value, but it was 130, so this was really good. However, there is a phase where the watch completely misses some heart rate spikes. This was the case in all of my workouts. The watch was generally accurate, but for certain exercises it couldn't keep up with the chest strap. So compared to other watches it was above average, yet for sports like strength training I would personally always go for the chest strap. Unfortunately though, as discussed, the chest strap can't be paired with the Pixel Watch 3 for training. There is another new safety feature related to heart rate as well: loss of pulse detection. While most sports watches can detect faults and then contact emergency services, the Pixel Watch 3 goes a step further by detecting heart failure or similar incidents. This means it can contact emergency services if no heartbeat is detected, and with the LTE version it doesn't even require a connected smartphone. In further tests, I wanted to check how accurate the GPS on the Pixel Watch 3 is when recording my routes during workouts. This was particularly interesting for me because I had poor experiences with the Pixel Watch 2 from last year. For one, it often took forever to find a GPS signal at all, and then the tracking was often inaccurate. Like last year, the Pixel Watch 3 still does not offer multiband GPS, but I was still hoping for more accurate GPS trackings. So let's take a look at this. Running through urban and forest areas looks really good, especially much better than last year. The watch also finds a GPS signal very quickly and then records my route quite accurately, as seen here. In some spots the route according to the watch still goes slightly through buildings, but only very slightly and rarely, so it's an improvement over last year for sure. Overall it looks good, although traditional sports watches are definitely still a bit better. In my usual extreme forest test I run on a narrow forest path in a dense forest, going back and forth on the same path, and as we can see here the Pixel Watch 3 also tracks this well, as the paths are pretty closely aligned. Again, I have seen better results, but that's really nitpicking at a high level, so whatever Google has adjusted in the software, I'm satisfied with the GPS accuracy of the watch this year. Alright, so what can we conclude about the new Google Pixel Watch 3? First off, I deliberately left out some features in this video, especially the smart features, because of course the Pixel Watch 3 is mainly a smartwatch. However, in this video I wanted to focus on its suitability for sports, fitness and health. In these areas the watch has definitely made progress. The Pixel Watch is still a relatively young product, now in its 3rd generation. Last year saw some improvements, but this year's jump is even bigger. With more advanced running metrics like ground contact time and tools for long-term workout analysis, such as cardio load and the load goal, the watch has become much more appealing to athletes. It also remains very minimalist, and its everyday fitness and health features like the ECG are once again impressive, with some features you won't even find in traditional sports watches. However, the watch still leaves a lot to be desired. For training, for example, it lacks the compatibility with external sensors like chest straps, and there is no navigation during training. And of course, the battery life is nowhere near that of traditional sports watches. If this isn't important to you, the watch could definitely be a great choice. In the end, it all depends on what you value in a watch and how you plan to use it. So for now, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the new Pixel Watch 3. If you found this video helpful or interesting, you could really support me and my work here by giving this video a quick thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any more videos or comparisons in the future, you should definitely subscribe to this channel. But for now, thanks a lot for watching and see you next time.